Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's crypto market update, we're diving straight into the Bitcoin daily chart. And wow, what a move we've seen. If you've been following from our last video, you remember that I talked about this yellow line, our next major resistance level. And right now, Bitcoin is reacting exactly as we predicted. We've seen a strong bullish push, and price has been testing that yellow line, which also lines up with the 0.382 Fibonacci level. Now, Ethereum's not staying behind either. Ethereum has smashed through its 4-hour resistance and is giving us a clean break and retest signal. But here's the real question. Are we about to see a continuation to the upside, or is this the calm before a pullback? That's exactly what we're breaking down in this video. Let's start big with the Bitcoin weekly chart. We just closed a bullish weekly candle after getting a solid bounce from support. Now, it's not a full bullish engulfing candle, but still, that's a strong sign. And if you zoom out and look at Bitcoin's history, you'll notice a pattern. Every time Bitcoin breaks and retests a previous all-time high, it often leads to another massive leg up, a new all-time high. Look at how this lines up with the 50 moving average in the past. Even though we didn't quite touch it this time, this current zone still aligns with that previous all-time high region, and that's exactly where we're seeing this reaction now. So if Bitcoin continues to repeat its past behavior, we could be looking at the early stages of a new all-time high formation. Now, traditional markets are already pushing into new highs, and gold is breaking down from support. That's a major clue that money is flowing back into risk assets. And guess who's next in line? Bitcoin. So, can Bitcoin create a new all-time high from here? Yes, it's definitely possible. But hold on, let's not ignore the warning signs. We still have that bearish divergence forming on the weekly chart, which I've been warning you about in our past updates. This is not something to take lightly. Every time we've seen this kind of divergence in the past, it has resulted in a major correction. For example, the last one led to about a 27% drop in Bitcoin's price. So, keep that in mind. Until we see a clear close above this RSI trendline, we can't call this a full reversal yet. Now, let's move to the Bitcoin 2-day chart. Remember that rising wedge pattern we've been tracking? It's still playing out. And I told you guys before, I want to see a clean candle close above this zone before I can say that the wedge has been invalidated. So far though, this setup looks more bullish than the last one we saw. Last time, when Bitcoin broke out of a similar wedge, it dropped immediately. No retest, no hesitation. But this time, we're seeing something different. The price has closed above the trend line, which means this structure might not be repeating the same bearish outcome. Still, I want to see a candle close above that yellow line we discussed earlier, because that's a major resistance zone. If Bitcoin fails to close above it, we could still see a pullback, possibly retesting the nearby support level. Finally, back to the Bitcoin daily chart. Everything is still playing out exactly as predicted from our last video, but for me to confirm that this bearish trend is fully invalidated, I need to see one thing: a daily close above the previous swing high. Once that happens, I'll start treating this move as a confirmed trend reversal to the upside. So overall, Bitcoin is showing strength. The structure looks promising, but we're still sitting right at a critical decision zone. Alright guys, let's move down to the 8-hour chart, because this is where things get really interesting. So if you remember from our last video, everything we mapped out is still playing out perfectly. We drew this yellow zone right here, and I emphasized that for Bitcoin to invalidate this major downtrend, we need to get a strong candle close above that previous swing high. Now, we still have that bullish divergence playing out, which has been helping the bulls maintain momentum. But here's the thing. I recently closed my long position. Yeah, I locked it in at 139% profit, which came out to over $3,000 on that trade. Now you might be wondering, why close if the market is still looking bullish? It's simple. I'm expecting a short-term sell-off before the next major move up. Ideally, what I'd like to see is this: Bitcoin cooling off, pulling back to this previous resistance zone that has now turned into support, which also aligns beautifully with the 200 moving average. If we can get that retest and a solid bounce, that's where I'll start looking to re-enter another position. Because I still believe our next point of attraction is this supply zone up here, the one that triggered that massive bearish impulsive move to the downside earlier. That area still has liquidity gaps to fill, and I think the price will be drawn back up there eventually. But like I said, before that happens, I'd like to see a pullback and a proper break above the previous swing high, just like I mentioned on the daily chart. Now let's zoom into the Bitcoin 4-hour chart. Not much different here. It's basically mirroring what we just discussed on the 8-hour time frame. This is still the key zone I want to see a confirmed close above before we push higher into that supply zone sitting above. But again, I'm sticking with my plan. I want to see a cool off first before we continue higher. Patience always pays in this market. Now let's take a look at Ethereum. On the 8-hour chart, ETH has been showing beautiful bullish price action since our last update. I remember clearly pointing out this resistance zone as our next target, and look what happened. Price hit it exactly, and then rejected hard. That reaction was clean. And just like Bitcoin, I think Ethereum is due for a cool-off before it can push higher. Because if you check the total crypto market cap chart, you'll notice the entire market is now sitting right inside a major resistance zone, a perfect place to expect some short-term pullback. So what I'm watching for is this. If the total market cap and Bitcoin cools off and resets around support, then that's where the next big move up could begin. Now, on the Ethereum 4-hour chart, we're seeing a clear break and retest setup forming right at the last resistance zone. Technically, this is a good sign, a perfect structure to enter along, but I'm personally not taking any trades yet. Like I said, I want to see a proper cooldown inside this resistance first before looking for new entries, whether it's on ETH or any other altcoin. Moving on to Solana, SOL is also approaching a major resistance zone, and I'm expecting a possible sell-off right there before we can get the next push up. If you drop down to the 4-hour time frame, Solana is giving a textbook break and retest setup off the recent resistance zone. It's clean, but I still believe we're going to hit resistance around that 208 to 210 USD area, and that's why, again, I'm staying patient. No new trades for me just yet. And finally, let's talk about XRP. Remember that zone I pointed out in our last video? That's exactly where XRP is heading right now. So expect a reaction, either a minor pullback or even a major sell-off from this level before another push to the upside. It's the same pattern we're seeing across multiple charts. Strong move up, hitting resistance, then likely a cool down before continuation. So guys, that's all for today's crypto market update. But before we wrap up, I've got some good news for you. You can get a $20 USDT bonus instantly when you sign up on Weeks using our link below. Here's how it works. Once you sign up and deposit just 100 USDT, you'll receive 20 USDT straight into your account to start trading. And that's not all. You can earn up to 30,000 USDT in rewards as you keep trading and depositing over time. So make sure you use our special link in the video description to claim your 20 USDT first, and then continue trading to unlock even more rewards. Alright guys, stay sharp, manage your risk, and I'll see you in the next update. Let's watch how Bitcoin reacts from here.